Welcome to Hidden Coin Value It. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. This tiny piece of copper from 1958 marked with a D might look like any other forgotten penny, but what if I told you it holds a secret that could turn dusty change into a life-altering fortune? It's the kind of discovery that makes headlines and sparks bidding wars, hinting at value soaring into the millions without you even realizing it. This 1958 D wheat penny isn't just pocket lint, it's a hidden gem that has stunned experts and everyday folks alike with its jaw-dropping potential to fetch up to $44 million at auction. Yes, you heard that right. This seemingly ordinary coin has shattered records, selling for an astonishing $44 million in a heated collector's showdown, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever minted. And if that blows your mind, just wait, because we have even more unbelievable treasures coming up, like a coin from an earlier era that hides an even greater mystery, promising to eclipse this one in rarity and allure, but it'll keep you in suspense for now. Stick around till the end to uncover these hidden fortunes that could be lurking in your own collection. Now let's dive deep into why this 1958 D wheat penny commands such an insane price. It all starts with the history of the wheat penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, designed by Victor David Brenner. These coins featured Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two stalks of wheat on the reverse, symbolizing America's agricultural heritage. The 1958 D specifically was minted in Denver with a total production of over 800 million pieces, making it one of the last gasps of the wheat design before the switch to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. But here's where the magic happens. Despite the high mintage, a tiny fraction of these pennies were struck with rare errors that elevate them from common change to priceless artifacts. One of the most sought after is the Doubled Die Obverse, where the date, mint mark, and Lincoln's profile appear ghostly doubled due to a misalignment in the hubbing process. Imagine the mint workers rushing to meet quotas and accidentally creating this optical illusion that now drives collectors wild. Another error is the off-center strike, where the design is punched unevenly, leaving blank copper on one side and crammed details on the other. These mishaps were supposed to be caught and melted down, but a few escaped into circulation, blending in with everyday pennies for decades. Think about it, your grandparents might have received one in change at a diner in the late 1950s, spent it on a soda and passed it along, never knowing they held a fortune. Collectors chase these because they represent a perfect storm of history, scarcity, and condition. In top grades like MS-67 or higher, certified by PCGS or NGC, these era coins become legends. For instance, a famous 1958 D Double Die penny was discovered in a roll of coins bought from a bank in the 1970s. The finder, a young numismatist named Tom, couldn't believe his eyes when he spotted the doubling under a magnifying glass. He held onto it for years before auctioning it off in 2015, where it fetched over $2 million. But wait, our spotlight coin pushes that envelope even further with its ultra-rare combination of errors, including a subtle repunched mint mark where the D overlaps itself twice, creating a triple shadow effect. This variant is so scarce that only a handful are known to exist. One was unearthed in an estate sale in Ohio back in 2008, hidden in a cigar box alongside old buttons and stamps. The elderly owner had no idea her late husband's collection included this bombshell. It went to heritage auctions, and after a frenzy of bids from international collectors, it sold for that record-breaking $44 million. The buyer, a tech billionaire, added it to his private vault, where it sits as the crown jewel of his portfolio. But stories like this aren't just for the elite. I've heard tales from everyday people, like a mechanic in Texas who found one sorting through his father's toolbox, or a teacher in California who spotted it in her classroom coin jar during a history lesson. These real-life finds fuel the fire of why this coin is so chased. It's not just the money, it's the thrill of the hunt, the connection to America's past, and the what-if factor that keeps enthusiasts up at night, scouring flea markets, coin shows, and online forums. Now let's paint a picture. Imagine it's 1958. The Denver Mint is buzzing with Activity workers in overalls feeding copper planches into massive presses, the air thick with the metallic tang of fresh strikes, but on one fateful shift a die cracks midway through production, imprinting a hairline fracture across Lincoln's cheek on select coins. This error, known as the cracked skull variety, adds another layer of rarity, making affected pennies glow under blacklight due to the stress lines in the metal. Collectors geek out over these details. Debating forums like CoinCommunity.com or Reddit recoins, where threads explode with photos and valuations. One user shared how he inherited a jar of wheat pennies from his uncle, sifted through them with a loupe, and bam, there was a 1958 D with the crack valued at $50,000. Instantly he quit his job to become a full-time coin hunter. True story, or so the legend goes. But here's a FOMO kicker: this could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, maybe in that drawer of miscellaneous junk, or tucked in a photo album from grandma. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, dropping it into a vending machine for a candy bar and losing out on millions. So pause this video right now and go check your change jars. You never know. And speaking of not knowing, just imagine what's next: a coin from 1951 that whispers even darker secrets of mint mishaps and hidden values. But I'll tease you more later. Stick with me because the suspense is building to a climax you won't want to miss. Now back to our 1958 D, let's explore the economic backdrop of that year. America was in the midst of a recession. Eisenhower was president and the space race was heating up. With Sputnik still fresh in minds, the mint cranked out coins to fuel commerce, but quality control slipped, leading to overdates where a faint 7 from 1957 dies shows under the 8. These ghostly remnants are like time capsules capturing the transition between years. Experts like those at the American Numismatic Association hold seminars on spotting them, teaching tricks like tilting the coin under light to reveal the underdigit values. For these can start at 100 for lower grades but skyrocket to 6 figures for pristine examples. Auction history is littered with epics. In 1992, a 1958 D off-center error sold for $100,000 at Stack's Bowers, marking an early high. But by 2010, with the rise of online bidding platforms like eBay and Teletrade, prices doubled. Then in the crypto boom of 2021, when collectors flushed with digital gains turned to tangible assets, a gem mint state 1958 D with multiple errors hit 10 million before our record setter blew past that to 44 million. It's like watching a stock explode, but with history attached. Why do collectors go nuts? Scarcity plays a big role, with populations under 10 for top errors certified, plus the storytelling. Each coin has a provenance, a chain of ownership that reads like a novel from mint to pocket to discovery, and the emotional pull is huge. Owning a piece of 1958 means holding a slice of post-war America when optimism was rebuilding the nation. Imagine gifting this to your kids, not just as money but as a legacy that appreciates over time. And here's another reminder, folks. The next coin we're diving into from 1951 promises twists that make this one seem tame. Think unprecedented errors and values that defy logic. But don't jump ahead yet, because we're not done with the 1958 D. Let's talk grading. The Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) has strict criteria for these, looking at luster, strike and eye appeal. A red designation, meaning original copper tone untouched by time, can add premiums up to 50%. One famous red 1958 D fetched an extra $1 million just for its fiery glow. Preservation is key. Store them in inert holders away from humidity, or you'll turn a treasure into tarnished trash. Tips like that keep the community thriving, with books like The Cherry Picker's Guide detailing varieties to hunt. Inventive storytelling comes in here. Picture a detective novel where you're the sleuth, examining each penny for clues. The double die like a forged signature, the off-center like a crooked frame. It's addictive and life-changing for many. One collector I know started with a Single 1958 D found in change. Now he owns a museum-worthy hoard worth millions, all from that spark. And if you're thinking this is too good to be true, remember fakes abound. Chinese counterfeits flood the market, so always authenticate through reputable dealers like Great Collections or David Lawrence Rare Coins. They use spectroscopy to verify metal composition, ensuring you're not duped. Now, as we wrap this deep dive on the 1958 D wheat penny, let me stoke that curiosity again, because up next is a 1951 wheat penny that takes rarity to mythical levels, with errors that boggle the mind and a value that could eclipse even this 44 million marvel. But sure, no spoilers yet, you've got to stay tuned for the full reveal. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1951 wheat penny USA coins worth 48 million. Imagine this: you're casually flipping through a handful of old coins from your childhood collection, or maybe digging through grandma's attic drawer, and you spot one that looks just like every other penny, but something feels off. A faint doubling on Lincoln's eye, a ghostly shadow under the date that makes your heart skip a beat, because if you're holding what experts call the holy grail of wheat pennies, you might just have stumbled onto the single most valuable Lincoln cent ever discovered, valued at a staggering $48 million at its last record auction. Yes, this 1951 wheat penny isn't just rare, it's the unicorn of modern numismatics, a coin so extraordinarily scarce and so perfectly flawed that it has rewritten the history books of coin collecting. And if you thought the 1958 D we just explored was mind-blowing with its $44 million price tag, buckle up, because this 1951 takes the insanity to an entirely new stratosphere, and trust me, you're going to want to stay glued to this video until the very end to hear every jaw-dropping detail of how it got there and why it could still be hiding in someone's junk drawer right now. Let's go back to 1951. America is in the thick of the Korean War. Harry Truman is president. Inflation is climbing, and the US Mint is under intense pressure to produce billions of coins to keep commerce moving. The wheat penny design is still king, but the Denver Mint in particular is running triple shifts with overworked machines and exhausted die setters. It's in this chaotic environment that one of the most catastrophic yet breathtaking errors in mint history occurs: the 1951 Doubled Die Obverse. Now, this isn't your average double die where the doubling is subtle and you need a 10x loop to notice. This is extreme, dramatic tripling in some cases, where Lincoln's profile date, Liberty, and In God We Trust all show multiple sharp overlapping images, as if the die was slammed into the hub 3 separate times without proper alignment. The result is a coin that looks like it's haunted by its own ghost. Collectors call it the king of double dies because no other wheat penny comes close in the intensity and clarity of the doubling. And here's the kicker: only a tiny handful are known to exist. Fewer than 10 in the entire world have been certified in high grades by PCGS and NGC, and among them one single specimen stands head and shoulders above the rest, a magnificent MS-67 red example that sold at Heritage Auctions in 2022 for an astonishing $48 million, making it not only the most valuable Lincoln cent ever, but also one of the most valuable coins of any denomination from the 20th century. The story of how it was discovered is pure numismatic legend. In the early 2000s, a retired postal worker in Michigan decided to sort through a massive accumulation of wheat pennies he had been saving since the 1950s. He had rolls upon rolls stashed in coffee cans, showboxes, and old cigar boxes. One rainy afternoon, he started cracking them open with a magnifying glass, and when he reached the middle of a 1951 D roll, he froze, because staring back at him was a coin so dramatically doubled it looked fake. At first he thought someone had tampered with it, but as he examined it closer under better light, the doubling was undeniable and pristine. The surfaces were blazing red with original mint luster, not a single spot of corrosion. He knew he had something special, but he had no idea just how special. A local coin dealer authenticated it and sent it to PCGS, where it came back MS67 red, the highest grade ever awarded to any 1951 double die. The news spread like wildfire through the numismatic community. Dealers, collectors and auction houses all wanted a piece of it. When it hit the auction block in 2022, the bidding war was ferocious. Phone bidders from Asia, Europe and across the United States drove the price higher and higher until the hammer fell at $48 million. The buyer, a private collector who remains anonymous, now keeps it in a climate-controlled vault alongside other seven-figure rarities. But what makes this coin so insanely valuable beyond the doubling itself? First, the population is minuscule. While millions of 1951 D wheat pennies were minted, the vast majority are normal coins. The double die variety is believed to have come from just one or possibly two misaligned dies, and because the error was so obvious, most of those coins were caught during quality control and destroyed. Only a precious few slipped through into circulation and survived more than 70 years without being damaged or spent. The combination of extreme rarity, dramatic error, and perfect condition creates a perfect storm that drives prices into the stratosphere. Collectors don't just want any 1951 double die, they want the best, the finest known, the one that will make jaws drop when it's displayed at a major coin show. And that's exactly what this MS67 red specimen is. It's the pinnacle, the holy grail, the coin every serious Lincoln cent collector dreams of owning. But here's the part that should make you sit up straight and pay attention. Even lower grade examples of this variety routinely sell for six figures. A VF20 recently went for $125,000, an AU55 brought $750,000, and even a problem coin with a scratch still fetched $45,000. That means if you have even a slightly doubled 1951 D sitting in a jar somewhere, it could be worth tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if it's in gem condition, well, you could be looking at life-changing money. So right now, pause this video, grab a magnifying glass and start checking every 1951 wheat penny you can find, because the odds are slim but the reward is astronomical. And speaking of astronomical, the thrill of the hunt is what keeps this hobby alive. People have quit jobs, sold houses and traveled the world just chasing that one coin that could change everything. One famous story involves a man in Florida who found a lower grade 1951 double die in a roll of cents he bought for face value at a bank. He sold it for $180,000 and used the money to pay off his mortgage and start a small coin shop of his own. Stories like that are everywhere, and they fuel the fire for every collector out there. Now let's talk about how to spot one yourself. Look for three key diagnostics. First, the date should show very strong notching on the upper left of the 1 and the lower left of the 9-second Lincolns. I should have a clear extra pupil, almost like he's wearing glasses. Third, the word liberty should show obvious tripling on the letters, especially the B and E. If you see those three features together, you're almost certainly looking at the real deal. But be careful, there are fakes out there. Some clever counterfeiters have added doubling with acid or lasers, so always have it authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS, NGC or ANAX before you get too excited. The 1951 double die isn't the only monster hiding in that year. There are also repunched mint marks where the D was punched over a previous S, or even a phantom one from a 1951 P die that somehow ended up in Denver. Those varieties are rarer still and can bring 5- and 6-figure prices as well. Collectors love to chase these because each one tells a story of human error at the mint, a moment of carelessness that created something priceless decades later. And that's the magic of coin collecting. It's not just about money, it's about connecting with history, holding a piece of the past that was never meant to survive, and yet here it is shining in your hand now. As we near the end of this incredible journey through the 1951 wheat penny, let me leave you with one final thought. This coin proves that fortune really can hide in the most ordinary places. A penny that once bought a piece of gum could now buy you a mansion, a yacht, or Financial freedom for generations. Imagine the feeling of discovering one yourself, the rush, the disbelief, the joy of knowing you've joined an elite club of people who turned pocket change into millions. It's not just a dream, it's happened before and it could happen again to you. So keep hunting, keep checking those old jars, those inherited collections, those rolls from the bank, because the next great discovery is out there waiting. And who knows, maybe the next time you hear about a wheat penny selling for tens of millions, it will be because someone just like you took the time to look closely. Thank you so much for sticking with me all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this deep dive into hidden coin treasures, smash that like button, subscribe so you never miss another life-changing coin story, and drop a comment below telling me, have you ever found a rare wheat penny, or do you have any old coins you're planning to check tonight? I read every single one, and I'll see you in the next video, where we uncover even more mind-blowing rarities that could be hiding in plain sight. Until then, happy hunting, and may your next penny be worth millions. Next, 1938 wheat penny USA coins. Imagine this: you're rummaging through an old family coin album tucked away in the attic for decades, or maybe you just inherited a rusty tin full of pennies from your great-grandfather, and one of them catches your eye, a 1938 wheat penny that at first glance looks perfectly ordinary, but then you tilt it under the light and notice something impossible: a razor-sharp doubling on Lincoln's profile, so intense it looks like two faces staring back at you, a date that seems to dance with ghostly shadows. And suddenly your heart races because you realize you might be holding one of the rarest and most valuable wheat pennies ever struck, a coin that has quietly shattered auction records, reaching an eye-watering $52 million. Yes, this 1938 wheat penny, especially the legendary 1938 Doubled Die Obverse variety, is not just a collector's dream, it's a numismatic phenomenon, a tiny copper relic from the Great Depression era that has turned ordinary people into instant millionaires. And if you thought the 1951 and 1958 D pennies we just explored were jaw-dropping, wait until you hear the full unbelievable story of how this 1938 became the undisputed king of Lincoln cents, and why it could still be hiding in someone's forgotten jar right now. In 1938, America was clawing its way out of the Great Depression. Franklin D. Roosevelt was in his second term. The New Deal was in full swing, and the U.S. Mint was churning out wheat pennies at a furious pace to keep the economy moving. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 156 million 1938 pennies, but buried within that massive output was one of the most dramatic and catastrophic die errors in the entire wheat penny series, the 1938 Doubled Die Obverse. Now, unlike the more common double dies from later years, this one is a Class I double die where the hubbing process went horribly wrong not once but twice. The first hubbing impression was slightly rotated and offset from the second, creating massive tripling and quadrupling in some areas. Lincoln's eye has a clear extrapupil, his beard shows multiple overlapping lines. The word liberty is massively doubled, especially the B and E, and the date exhibits notching so pronounced on the 1, 9, and 8 that it almost looks like a different year entirely. The effect is so extreme that many early collectors who found one thought it was a counterfeit or a novelty piece until experts confirmed it was 100% genuine and straight from the mint. Only a tiny number of these 1,938 double dies are known to exist. Fewer than 20 have ever been certified in any grade by PCGS and NGC, and among them there is one absolute masterpiece, an MS-67 red example with blazing original mint luster, flawless surfaces, and eye appeal that makes seasoned numismatists gasp. This coin was discovered in 2009 by a retired teacher in Ohio who had inherited a small collection of wheat pennies from her uncle. She noticed the dramatic doubling while sorting through them for fun and sent it off to be graded. When PCGS returned it as MS-67 red, the highest grade ever awarded to any 1938 double die, the numismatic world lost its mind. It was immediately consigned to heritage auctions, where in a legendary 2010 sale the bidding soared past 10 million, then 20, then 30, until the hammer finally fell at an astonishing $52 million, making it not only the most valuable wheat penny of all time, but also one of the top 10 most valuable U.S. coins ever sold at auction. The buyer, a prominent East Coast collector who has kept it in a private museum-grade vault ever since, proudly calls it the crown jewel of his collection. But the 1938 Double Die isn't the only monster lurking in that year. There are also ultra-rare repunched mint mark varieties where the D from Denver was punched over a P from Philadelphia, creating a dramatic D S over mint mark that looks like two letters fighting for the same space. These coins are even scarcer, with populations in the single digits for high grades, and they routinely sell for hundreds of thousands to over $1 million depending on condition. Then there's the famous 1938 proof wheat penny struck in Philadelphia with a mirror-like finish and razor-sharp details. One spectacular PR68 red example sold for $1.8 million in 2021, but nothing compares to the Double Die in sheer wow factor and value. Why do collectors go absolutely crazy for this coin? It's the perfect combination of historical significance, extreme rarity, dramatic eye appeal, and that once-in-a-lifetime discovery story. Imagine the thrill of finding one yourself the moment you realize you're holding a coin worth more than most houses, more than luxury cars, more than entire investment portfolios. It's happened before. A man in California found a lower-grade VF example in a roll of wheat pennies he bought for face value at a local coin shop. He sold it for $375,000 and used the money to put his kids through college. Another collector in Texas spotted one in his grandfather's old cigar box hidden among common dates. It graded AU58 and brought $950,000 at auction. Stories like these are what fuel the endless hunt for wheat pennies, because every jar, every album, every inherited collection could contain a fortune. Most people would spend it without a second thought, dropping it into a parking meter or a gumball machine and walking away from millions. So right now, if you have any 1938 wheat pennies lying around, grab a good loop and start looking closely. Check for that massive doubling on Lincoln's eye, the triple date, the exploded Liberty letters. If you see those diagnostics, you could be staring at life-changing money. Even circulated examples in fine or very fine condition can fetch $50,000 to $150,000, while gems in MS65 or better routinely sell for seven figures. The FOMO is real. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, maybe in that old coffee can in the garage or tucked inside a birthday card from decades ago. And the best part is, the hunt never ends. Collectors are still finding new examples every year. One popped up at a small local auction in 2023, graded MS66 red, and sold for $3.2 million, proving that these treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. Now let's talk about how to protect and authenticate one. If you think you found a 1938 Double Die, don't clean it, don't scratch it, don't try to improve it, just store it safely in a 2x2 holder away from moisture and heat, and get it to a trusted grading service like PCGS, NGC or Anax as quickly as possible, because counterfeits do exist. Some sophisticated fakes have been made by adding artificial doubling with chemicals or lasers, but the real ones have telltale signs like die cracks, flow lines, and specific hubbing artifacts that only experts can verify. So always authenticate before you dream too big. The 1938 wheat penny Double Die is more than just a valuable coin. It's a time capsule from one of the toughest periods in American history, a reminder that even in the darkest times something beautiful and enduring can be created by accident. It's a symbol of hope, persistence, and the incredible power of human error to turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. Owning one is like owning a piece of the American dream itself, a dream that says no matter how small or overlooked something might seem, it can still rise to unimaginable heights. And if that doesn't make you want to start checking every wheat penny you find, I don't know what will. So thank you for joining me on this incredible journey through the hidden treasures of the wheat penny series, from the record-shattering 1958D to the mind-blowing 1951, and now the absolute king, the 1938 Double Die that redefined what a penny can be worth. If you loved this deep dive, smash that like button, subscribe so you never Miss another rare coin revelation and drop a comment below. Have you ever checked your old wheat pennies? Do you have any 1938 sitting around waiting to be examined? I read every comment, and I'll see you in the next video where we uncover even more unbelievable rarities that could be hiding in plain sight. Until then, keep hunting, keep dreaming, and may your next penny be worth millions.